Hello and welcome to my channel. You are the one where we talk all things law of assumption to help make your manifesting journey easier and more fun. And today, kind of in light of that, I want to share with you what's been going on for me personally lately, and it hasn't really been that fun. And I wanted to share with you what I've been doing for myself during those times, because I've kind of been struggling a little bit. And I wanted to make this video just to be really open and honest about what I do in those situations, and I'm still kind of in it. So this is what I'm doing in real time, and I hope it helps, so stick around. Okay, my name is Hedley Derenzie. For those of you who would like more information about who I am and my offerings, you can find those details in the box below this video or go to my website, youaretheone.com.au, but we are just going to get straight into this video. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about where I've been at, because I know I'm not alone in this, and also just because I've got this channel and I'm a law of assumption coach and I'm putting this work into action, I'm still in my movie. I still got old stories coming up. I've still got shit going on. And sometimes it's not that pleasant, and it really, nothing's wrong. Like, I can't say anything. I've got an amazing movie, and there's so much that I've got to be grateful for. However, lately, just in the last couple of weeks, I've really been struggling. And I'm going to use that word because it hasn't been something that I've been able to really just pull myself out of super easily. I'm still kind of in it. And I just wanted to share with you what I'm doing kind of real time, because I am still in it, so that when you are potentially going through these moments of very human experiences, then you might remember this and put something into action for your own life. I won't go into the story of why I'm struggling, because one, I don't want to perpetuate that story, because as I know, as you know, consciousness is the one and only reality. So whatever you're placing your consciousness on dominantly is what's going to show up in reality. Now, the first point that I wanted to make about this is acknowledging where you're at, acknowledging what is going on for you, acknowledging that you're struggling or having a hard time, or acknowledging that your 3D is kind of giving you a bit of a slap around, is not affirming it. And that I see a lot of people getting themselves into trouble, and sometimes myself as well, is we bypass what's going on in our reality, or we bypass what we're feeling because we don't want to affirm it. We don't want to bring more of it in. But that's actually just that's like a fancy dress way of denying what it is that you're experiencing. And we are not in the game of denial. This is not about denying anything. So the first thing I do when I'm kind of in a bit of the shitter, I will stop what I'm doing and I will acknowledge where I'm at. I will acknowledge what's going on for me. And I have a few trusted friends who I will call and I'll talk through with these situations, because they understand the law of assumption and they're working with it themselves. And so even though I'm sharing what's going on for me with them, I'm acknowledging the situation, but it's coming from an intention of not staying in that reality or in that state of consciousness. So it's not like I'm just telling the story just so I can create more of that drama. That's not what this is about. But it is really important to acknowledge where you are, because you cannot change something that you aren't willing to first acknowledge. By acknowledging what you are feeling and what you are experiencing does not equal affirming it. It's only affirming if you continue to tell that story, if you continue to indulge in it, if you continue to tell every single person that you know when they say, "How are you?" Well, let me tell you about all the stuff that's been going on in my movie. So acknowledging something doesn't mean that you are affirming it, but it is really important to acknowledge it, and either to yourself or to a trusted friend. And perhaps you need a bit more acknowledgement. Perhaps you need to speak to somebody. Perhaps you need to seek somebody out who's trusted or qualified to just work with what you've got going on. Because sometimes, in my experience, when you're in an old story or when you've got the old self concept coming up and it feels real, that's where you need to go a little gently with this law of assumption manifesting kind of thing, because you don't want to make things worse for yourself by putting over a story of what you're already experiencing of, oh, I'm not doing this right, I can't be thinking these thoughts, I can't be feeling these feelings, and kind of making everything that you're feeling and thinking and experiencing wrong. And that's just going to add another layer of shittiness to what you're already experiencing. So we don't want to do that. We want to just really be honest about where we're at and acknowledge where we're at. So that's the first point that I wanted to make. It's okay to acknowledge what you're feeling and even thinking. And some of the ways that I do that is I have a really cheap exercise book. I don't know where it is at the moment, but I have a super cheap exercise book, and I will write out all the thoughts that I'm thinking, all the really shitty thoughts, because I'm going to throw that exercise book out once it's finished. And then once I've kind of got all of those thoughts out on the page, then I can start to look at like changing them and holding new assumptions. But I do that very gently because remember, I don't want to make anything wrong about what I'm experiencing. The one thing that I don't do is I don't question the teachings. I don't sit here going, oh, is this really real? Is this, I don't do any of that. That to me is a waste of time, because this is the way the game works. Reality is the reflection of what's going on in consciousness. So if you're feeling shitty or things aren't working the way you want, that's just because you've got some stories running. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or there's anything broken about you or anything like that. It just means there's some stories that need some attention, and perhaps some old memories that you haven't even thought of in decades are starting to come up to the surface. And I had one that come up to the surface just today where I was just like, whoa, that has never occurred to me. And that memory is still active. So awesome, now that I'm aware of it, I can quickly revise it. This stuff doesn't have to take a long time. Once you can see it, then you can work with it. This stuff is really simple, but it's not always easy. And that is another thing I wanted to make. Just because this work is simple doesn't make it easy. We are dealing with our subconscious. We are dealing with things about ourselves that we can't see. We are dealing with a reality that we often don't understand because we don't know we have those stories running in our subconscious. But your reality will always reflect back exactly where you're at, not where you think you're at, because we always think we're a bit further down the track than we are. Reality will kindly and beautifully and very objectively reflect back exactly where you are at in your subconscious and those stories that are running. If you want to know what's in your subconscious, just look in your reality. At any area in your life, whether it's relationships, money, home, work, friends, community, health, anything at all. If you want to know what is going on in your subconscious, just look out into your reality and go, okay, what is my reality reflecting back? What are the facts of my reality in that particular area of my life? And then is it favorable or unfavorable? And if it's not favorable, that's because there are some unfavorable stories running, probably from a very long time ago, things that you didn't even know you were picking up at the time. And that's why sometimes this can be a little bit confusing and a bit overwhelming, because we are working with stories we don't even remember picking up. They were inherited by us, because when we're brought into the world, that's how we learn about the world, by absorbing the external world. And we learn about ourselves and the world based on looking out into it and being like, all right, am I safe? Is this, what's going on here? Who am I based on my relationship with this person? Like, what does that person say about who I am? So that's how we learn about the world, by looking outwards. Now the rebirth is where we go, oh, hang on a second, that's just the setup. So now I'm approaching my reality from inwards, so meaning my inner reality is reflected out in my outer reality. My outer reality is the reflection of my inner reality. Now we've kind of got the thing working in the right direction. Then we can start to work with these stories, and they come up and they don't feel good. And so that's where I've been lately. But the other thing that I have done is I have gone and got myself a coach/mentor. I've worked with many coaches over the years, and I've always loved it, and I've always got so much value from it, just because I'm a coach and I'm a law of assumption coach, and I'm a good one. I'm still in my movie, and I'm still working through my subconscious and the stuff that's getting reflected. And when you're in your own movie, sometimes it's hard to sort of see the trees through the grass, if you know what I mean. Like, as a coach, you're sitting back and you're looking at somebody else's reality and someone else's movie. Super easy to see what's going on in somebody's subconscious based on their reality, because you're not emotionally invested in their movie. You're like a spectator, so it's super easy. But when you're in your own movie, it can sometimes be a bit murky to kind of wade through the reality that you're being faced with and be like, I don't understand where this is coming from. I don't understand where the story is arising from. I don't have any memory of it. Like, it can be really confusing. We all need support in our awakening process, in our unraveling of these old stories inputting the new ones, reinforcing those new ones, holding them long enough, and often in the face of a reality that's showing us the opposite. And like, that's the muscle with these teachings. That's the biggest part of what I've found about these teachings, is the holding the vision in the face of a reality that is showing you the opposite. And when you can do that on a consistent basis, then you are really living as the God of your and cause of your reality. That's when you're really like stepping into yourself as God in human form, meaning as imagination or consciousness in human form, having a wonderfully human experience as consciousness. Like, that's where we're all heading. That's what we're all doing. I guess I just wanted to make this video to let you know that even though this is the work that I'm doing, this is the channel that I'm producing, this is like, I do this stuff every day and I'm super focused on it and super disciplined, I still have my shit going on. I still struggle. I still have hard days. I have hard weeks. This isn't always a walk in the park. And I've had so much success as it is, and I've had so many wonderful experiences. And even with my clients, like, the experiences that they're having is so amazing for me to be a part of as well. Like, this is the way the game works. It's staying the course. It's staying with yourself during those moments that are really challenging, and you're faced with a reality that you don't necessarily like, that you don't necessarily want, that you don't necessarily understand. It's staying with yourself regardless, and knowing that this too will pass. This is just a part of your awakening, and even though it's a little painful and a bit uncomfortable, it is all part of the process, and everything is working in your favor, even this moment. And those are the assumptions that I'm working on holding, such as everything always works out in my favor. This is my movie. I'm the star of it. I'm the script writer. I'm the one who is directing, producing, writing, starring, and casting all the characters in. Like, this is my movie. So I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to write the best possible movie for myself. This is a very human experience we're all having. You will get through your difficulties because you are the star and you are God in human form. And this is why we are here, is to awaken from the old stories, from the negative self-talk, from all the doubts, from all the resistance, from all the fear. That's what we're awakening from. But sometimes they have to come up, we have to see them, and then we have to go, oh, okay, cool, now I understand that's why. Not always, doesn't matter. Like, there's no rules to this as well. So your experience will be very different from somebody else's, but there will be some common themes, and sometimes that theme may be just a little bit of a difficult time, and that's okay. You will get through it, I will get through it, we'll all get through it together. And I want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for your comments, all of those things. That's like, the comments are beautiful. And that was the other thing that I wanted to mention. One of the other things that I have been doing is just pulling away a little bit from that social media thing, because I think what I was doing was I was sort of checking reality a little too often. So one of the things that I'm doing, if I don't get back to your comments in a few days, it's just because I'm not checking it all the time as I was. I'm pulling back, I'm reconnecting with me, because I am the one that I'm looking for, not anything outside of myself. And that's why this channel is called You Are The One, because you are the one. I am the one for me, you are the one for you. We are all the I am in our own life. And as soon as we start getting pulled into the reality and checking the 3D, that's where we start to lose connection with self. So I'm working on just coming back into me and what's important and meaningful for me. I will continue to do these videos. I've been doing more meditations because I've been needing them myself, so that's probably why I've been doing more of them. Yeah, I'll just continue to show up, as we all got to do. Please remember, you are the amazing creators of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you, and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. And this is my wish, my vision, and my prayer for you. And this is also for me too. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.